Welcome to Meet Me Halfway. I'm Jordan Griffith. He is Austin McNorton. Unfortunately, we had just been recording for about 45 minutes before this before my internet just completely shut down. So we have lost all of that recording. It was all about the NFL draft. But you know what? We're going to keep that going on Thursday. Next show, it's going to be all about the NFL draft. But we want to put something out on Monday. So we're going to talk about the topics that are going to be relevant today, to where if we talk about on Thursday, just like we were talking about earlier, it wouldn't be relevant anymore. So we're going to talk some NBA, some NFL, but it's going to be a shortened show, and we are very sorry about it. But my internet is the one who has caused this. I'm sorry.
Like it always is. I mean, we all know your internet's terrible compared
Right.
to mine, just perfection over here.
Right. State, if you want great Wi-Fi, that's the school. That's the school to go to.
Maybe not.
That is sarcasm, by the way. Their internet is absolute garbage.
You're not wrong.
Yes.
You're not wrong.
Okay, so we're going to start off just the NBA, just a couple topics, and then we're going to move to over, under, and push, and then fact or fiction, everyone's favorite. That's mostly why we had to get this episode done. Fact or fiction is mostly why this episode has to go.
True. How could we forget about that?
Yeah.
That's the best segment we've ever created.
And you know what, though? If it's popular enough, it might become a two-time-a-week segment. The fans got to scream for it, though. I got to hear the screams for it. So we're going to start off with the NBA. James Harden and the Warriors faced off against the Warriors last night. They lose in the first game in Golden State. And James Harden, after the game, after a few questionable non-calls on the Warriors against James Harden, he says that he just wants a fair chance, and he just thinks that the game was unfairly called, and that he thought that could have decided the game for him. So the question is, Austin, does he have a point with that?
He absolutely has a point. This is all because of the Andrew Bogut rule, where he's so the question is everything that we're debating about is the landing space for a three-point shooter, and
Right.
that in game one, the Warriors, you could tell, were clearly invading the space of the Rockets three-point shooters to affect their shot, but unintentionally they were landing where the Rockets were coming down after shooting it. And it's a throwback to when Andrew Bogut intervened on Kawhi Leonard's three that took him out of the series and took the Spurs out of the series.
Was that Zaza?
Yes, Zaza.
Zaza, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Took Kawhi out and took the Spurs out, essentially. And so he's just saying, I don't want that to happen to me. I don't want our team to lose because I get injured on a non-call foul. And it happened to multiple times yesterday. And the other problem with it is, it happened to Chris Paul, it happened to James Harden several times. Can you imagine if the Rockets would have done that to Steph? Everyone would lose their mind saying, oh, they're invading Steph Curry's space. How dare they? It's like, but because it's James Harden and the Rockets, people don't get all that up in arms about it.
Yeah.
If it was Steph that was on the losing end of this because of no call, the whole NBA, everyone would be losing their mind. And for Draymond Green to come out and criticize James Harden, if Steph would have been the one that was complaining, I can't even imagine what the Warriors' response would be. It would be so absurd and ridiculous because, oh, Steph's our guy. He can't get hurt. There's no way. But that's the same way for the Rockets and James Harden. They need James Harden to win this series, just like the Warriors need Steph to win their series. So that's my issue with it is it's clearly a foul. You're invading his space. Let's call it like that.
Yeah. The biggest thing that I have with it is it's a lot like in the Virginia versus who was the Final Four game that they had played against?
Auburn,
right. The foul that was on Kyle Guy. A lot of people debated the fact that shouldn't be a foul in that moment. That fouls are not a consistent, continuous kind of spectrum in a game. That fouls are different in the first half than they are in the second, third, fourth quarter. That's a crock, okay? That's just not true. If you truly believe that you should officiate a game differently from the first quarter to the fourth quarter, then you should stop doing what you're doing. Stop refereeing the game, because people are saying that regular season calls are not the same as postseason calls, and that they shouldn't be the same. Why? What's the difference?
That's called that the NBA refs called all season long.
And all of a sudden they're not getting that call. Why? What's the point of that? So why are you giving it to them in the first place? Either don't give it to them at all and they won't do it, or give it to them all the time, because that's what you should be doing. You're being inconsistent. These guys are letting them get away with murder. Kawhi Leonard was out all year with that injury because of that closeout from Zaza Pachulia. He was out in almost an entire year because of it. This is not okay. This is something that can seriously hurt a player, not giving them any place to land. Kobe Bryant had that problem with Jalen Rose. We remember that one. And yes, this is something that is not okay. But the thing is, I understand if you don't think that the Rockets deserve to be getting these calls. I understand it because they abuse the rule book. That's fine. But there's a lot of other teams that abuse the rule book too. You know why? Because the rule book is abusable. Because
we've talked about that before on this show.
Yes, we've talked about this. It's a joke. It's these guys look for contact in order to get to the free throw line. But you know what? I don't blame them for doing it because it's an advantage. It's a way to win a game. And
yeah, I don't necessarily like how James Harden consistently draws fouls, but it's like, I know I can get a foul. I'm going to shoot free throws. If I can get one, I'm going to get it. I don't blame someone for that.
And then all of a sudden, it's different because it's in the postseason?
That ain't right.
It's not right. It's a shame that all of a sudden, because I guess basketball is a different sport when you get into April and May. I guess basketball is just completely different all of a sudden. I don't understand it. And you know what? I don't exactly side with James Harden with his style of play, just like you were saying, because I don't like the way that the NBA is played now. I don't enjoy watching it anymore like I used to. And he's a big proprietor of it. But at the same time, he has such a good point that you have to call those if you're going to give them to me at all. If you don't give them to him at all, then he won't be doing it. He won't be getting those calls. So you got to be consistent.
Exactly.
Okay, and moving on, more NBA. Paul Pierce was on, I believe, NBA Tonight, one of those NBA shows the other night, and he said, man, this Celtics-Bucks series, he goes, it's already over. He says that the Celtics have pretty much already wrapped up the series because series are only one game long.
Right.
Oh, wait, they're not. They're 7 for some reason. I forgot about that for a second. Austin, is this series over?
It's not. It's not over. Giannis has been the best player pretty much in the NBA all year long. The Bucks are the number 1 seed in the East for a reason. They're not just going to fold over because they lost game 1 in Milwaukee. That's not going to happen. Giannis had a bad game, a rare bad game. So it's not even close to over. I still think it could go to 7 potentially. I mean, I don't know if Milwaukee can do it because Kyrie is so experienced in the playoffs and so are the Celtics as a whole. But Milwaukee's the number 1 seed in the East for a reason. They're not just going to say, oh, shoot, we lost game 1. Time to fold. Congrats, you won in 4 games. No, that's just not realistic. It's not even close to being over.
Yeah.
It just got off to a different start than everyone was expecting it to.
So the Bucks obliterated the Pistons in 4 games. They had 1 bad game. Series is not over. I don't. Some people are just Paul Pierce. You know what? I hope he hears this. You suck. You are not a good analyst.
You know what's hilarious? You know what's hilarious about Paul Pierce is that in Dwayne Wade's retirement game, the entire crowd in Miami chanted Paul Pierce sucks.
Yeah.
You know how bad that is to be that guy in one of the greatest iconic moments in all of sports? Your name is being chanted that you suck throughout an entire city. That's brutal. That's brutal.
It's because he criticized. He thinks that he's better than Dwayne Wade, which we all know is not even close. Okay, Paul Pierce, when it comes to your basketball career, you're an all-timer. You played for one of the greatest, probably the greatest organization in basketball with the Boston Celtics. I believe they have the most titles, correct?
Yes, by 1 over the Lakers.
Yeah. You played for the iconic Boston Celtics. You're an all-timer when it comes to the Celtics, one of the greatest organizations in the history of the game. Just be content with being that. Don't say you're better than Dwayne Wade because we all know it's not true. There wasn't anything besides shooting that you did better than Dwayne Wade. Nothing. You were not as good as Dwayne Wade for that. And for this, your analyst, you still suck because you are just an emotional wreck that loves the Boston Celtics. This is not the first time that he said just horrendous things like this that don't make any sense, that can't back anything up.
And it's so funny because it caught everyone else off guard that was sitting on the panel, like Chauncey Billups, and they're like, "Wait, what? Hold on."
Exactly.
They literally were just like, "Wait, what? Are you serious?"
Paul Pierce, you know who he predicted to win it all last year? Oklahoma City Thunder.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's Paul Pierce. Okay, moving on to the NFL. Rough situation with my Kansas City Chiefs. Tyreek Hill. Just if you guys haven't heard of it, in the offseason, there were some reports that he had abused him and his girlfriend had possibly, allegedly, I will say allegedly because it's not, the case is now open again, that there was some abuse to their own 3-year-old son. He had a broken arm. There was no evidence. The case was officially closed, I believe, as of just a few days ago. And because they could not prove that either one of them were the ones to do it. Then, on day one of draft night, Tyreek Hill's girlfriend releases a audio to KCTV that basically has some very disturbing things that Tyreek Hill had said. Things like, "You should be terrified of me too," expletive. Pretty much sealing his guilt in this whole thing, which I'm not going to say because I'm not a lawyer. There's no sure evidence for any of this. But if either one of them didn't do it, then what could have happened, right? So right now, not looking good for Tyreek Hill, especially with that audio, was kind of what really sealed his fate. We're just waiting for him to get released from the Kansas City Chiefs. And let me just say, Austin, you know this about me. I am the #1 proprietor in this world of innocent until proven guilty. You are not guilty until a court says so.
Yeah.
But right now, this is pretty much guilty. But you know what? I'm not even going to go into that legal stuff because this is all about the kid. The kid has got to be the main priority in this. Football should not even be in the microscope with this at all. This kid has got to be safe. You have got to do what's best for this kid right now. But when it comes to the person, I want to punch him in the face. Tyreek Hill, get him off the Kansas City Chiefs. If you are a supporter or a defender of Tyreek Hill after hearing that audio, unsubscribe, unfollow, block me, do whatever you got to do. This man has proven to me that he is exactly what we thought he was coming out of college. As soon as he got drafted by John Dorsey, who has drafted some very bad character guys in the NFL. Tyreek Hill is a despicable human. I do not want him anywhere near the Kansas City Chiefs. He should never get the chance to play football again. And they drafted Mecole Hardman, a guy who does exactly what Tyreek Hill does. Perfect replacement for him. That's just from the football perspective once again, because that's all we can really talk about. We don't really know much about the legal aspects of it. But I'm done with this guy. Some people say he shouldn't even see daylight again. This is a guy that's not. He's gonna have bigger worries than playing football. He's gonna be in jail for a good amount of time.
It shows a lot from the perspective of the girlfriend that she has to record their conversations and hide it from him. That she's also like afraid of like messing with this dude because he's already been on the wrong end of it once. And then his statement towards her about, "You should also be afraid of me." It's never a good thing when your child is afraid of you, for one. But then when he said, "You should also be afraid of me," it's not looking good at all.
You know, she protected Tyreek Hill. She should not be near that kid either. Neither one of them.
Oh, yeah. They're both 100% guilty.
Yes.
They're both, because she didn't defend the kid how she should have. And he's obviously the one that's been, it's abuse, and it's not good. It's not good. And you're exactly right. It reflects bad on the Chiefs organization and it reflects bad on the city of Kansas City because now other cities and organizations said, man, I can't believe you guys let this guy be on your organization and do all these things. And you took a gamble on him out of college and it didn't pay off. And that's really on John Dorsey. I still think he should come out and say something because he got on all of the Chiefs fans when he came out and said, because when they first drafted him, Kansas City was like, whoa, I don't know about this. And he literally came out and said, just trust us. We know what we're doing. Come on, man. Like, clearly it's come back and it's hurting you now. It's hurting the Chiefs now after you left. They're the ones that are taking the fall for it. The city of Kansas City is taking the fall for it after they trusted you in drafting this guy. And yeah, from a football standpoint, he was a monster. What he did for the Chiefs, a monster. But as a person, he should never play in the NFL ever, ever, ever again. Ever.
Right.
Because it's if anyone and all the fans have listened to the audio, and if you haven't, listen to it at your own discretion because it's intense. It's
Tough
intense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not good.
There's obviously a line between what matters and what doesn't here. Obviously, football does not matter. I do not care if the Chiefs do not win a Super Bowl because Tyreek Hill got basically fired or he gets released. I don't care. There's a 3-year-old kid out there who has 2 abusive parents. That's something that has to be fixed. That's something around America that happens in a lot of households. This is something that cannot go on. This is more important than sports, okay? You have got to fix this. And I don't want anything to do with Tyreek Hill. I'm just hearing his name. I'm not kidding. Gets me just pissed off. So I'm tired of hearing about Tyreek Hill. This guy is a you know what. He should never play football once again. And they just got to get that kid safe. That's the most important thing.
100%.
So, okay, moving on to over, under, and push. This one's kind of a little weak. I'll be honest. I haven't had a whole lot of NFL outside of the NFL draft because this was supposed to be supported by our NFL draft analyst that has been deleted. So we're just gonna keep going with it. So over, under, or push. Pro Bowl quarterbacks this year's draft. Are there 3 Pro Bowl type quarterbacks?
I'll say 2. So I'll say
Murray.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. I'll go with 1. I think Kyler Murray. Dwayne Haskins, I feel like he fell somewhat for a reason. 1-year starter at Ohio State. I mean, I can't really find a whole lot to knock him for Dwayne Haskins, but if there is one, I think it's clearly, like you said, 1 and 2 for those 2. And we'll just keep moving here. Over, under, or push. The Raiders with 9 wins next year. They had a decent draft. Mel Kiper said they're going to win the division.
He did say that,
so the Raiders with 9 wins. Over, under, or push.
I mean, even if like you say that, look how good the Raiders did in the draft, they could double their win total. Well, that goes from 4 to 8. So I mean, it's like, no, I'll still say under. I mean, even if they have this good of a draft, it's not enough to. Definitely not near enough to win the division in as tough a division as it is. So I won't. And due to that fact, having to play each of those 3 other teams, that's 6 losses right there out of 16. So I don't think they get to 9.
Yeah, I don't see 9 happening. But I do see this team as kind of a team that this team not going to roll over. They drafted a lot of high character, good guys, people. But this is a team that's not talented enough to win 9 games, I don't think yet. But I think they will be competitive in a lot. I think this is a team that's going to play a lot of close games. That's probably going to lose a lot of those close games due to the lack of talent. But 9 wins is probably the ceiling for them. I don't think they get more than 9 wins. I don't think there's any way that happens. Okay, and then number 3, over, under, or push. Rockets and Warriors are going to Game 7.
I'll say push.
Think so?
I think it'll go to 7.
Yeah, I'm going to go with under. I mean, the Warriors are just so good, and plus that first game is really where Houston could have jumped on, and those calls are deflating. They're not going to be getting those calls for the rest of the series. This is not a one-game thing. I don't think this is going to last with the calls. I think that they're going to keep calling them just like they have been. And if that happens, the Rockets are done because they base their whole offense off of that. Whether you like it or not, it works. And all of a sudden, those calls aren't happening. That doesn't make any sense to me, but that's just how it is, I guess. Back to fiction time, baby. You know what time it is. The best segment of the show. And this is pretty much the whole reason why we did this show, a short show. So, fact or fiction, Austin, you've been on fire lately. You've been doing pretty well. 5 of 9 so far. Just over 500. That's exactly where you want to be.
That is.
My job is to, go make you go 0 for 3. But you're good at this. You've caught on to me. You kind of know my head.
I know your tricks from last year.
Tricks. You know my tricks. But you know what? I'm bringing the heat today. This one's a good one. Okay, these are good ones.
Oh boy.
All right. Number 1. In the Bahamas, there was a remote island that is riddled with only razorbacks and is called Hog Island. Or that the largest pineapple ever grown was in Australia and it measured at 12.5 inches long.
That's tough. I'm a pig guy. So I'm going to go with the first one. I'm going to say there is a Hog Island.
See, Austin, there's something you need to factor into this. I know you're a pig guy, and that's why I made it up.
Oh.
It is big. 5 of 10.
Well done. That was good.
Yeah, that dug deep. That dug deep into your soul.
I was like, dude, gosh.
That's well right. Done. You gotta factor in that we're officially friends, whether you like it or not. So we know each other.
That's well done. Using my interests against me. How dare you? How dare you?
Well, I can tell you the ending of the movie of Endgame.
Oh yeah, you're right. Never mind.
In case you guys haven't known, I saw Endgame, Marvel movie. Austin has not yet, so I'm holding it over his head because we said that on the original show, but it got deleted. So hold it over his head. Anytime he disrespects me, I'm gonna tell him the ending. I'm gonna threaten to tell him the ending. Whether I do it or not, it's a whole other story.
Please go.
Okay. Number 2. In 2012, a man turned himself in because he wanted the $2,000 reward for himself, or that a Nokia was originally a paper printing company in 1865.
That first one just sounds so crazy that it's got to be real. The $2,000 reward for himself.
0 for 2. I made it up.
That just sounds so real, though. That sounds like such a legit thing that someone would do.
But you know what? You're right. But he turned himself in for a $100 reward. He really did this.
Oh my gosh!
$100 reward.
Why are people so dumb, bro?
I don't know. Okay. Number 3. If I pitch a shutout, oh my God, I'm gonna lose it. Oh goodness.
Now the pressure's really on. You
have to get 1 for 3 to have some dignity. Okay. Number 3. A Dachshund was bred to hunt in small, narrow badger burrows, or that studies show that car shoppers are nearly 4 times more likely to buy a car if the lot smells like freshly cut grass.
Ooh.
I brought the heat.
This is a really tough one. I'm not much of a dog guy, so I don't know. I'm going to say the second one is real.
0 for 3. I got him. Yes. I got you. 0 for 3.
It's rare.
You know what, man? I got to tell you, though, I brought the heat today. I couldn't say I'd done any better. You're good at this, but, I mean, sometimes I got to win, too.
Man.
They were bred to hunt in small, narrow badger burrows. I don't even remember the fact. That's how much it was. Man, that's what I was able, because the crazy ones, the reason you win sometimes is because the crazy ones stick out to where that has to be true. I made up some crazy ones today.
You did make up some crazy ones.
So I went crazier, and the other ones are obviously already crazy. So I went crazier than that. That's what that will let the
I'm disappointed in myself. Fans, I'll let you down. It won't happen again.
man. So all of a sudden, 5 for 9. You're 5 for 12. Now you're in the hole.
Man, I haven't been below 500 in over a year, so.
Yeah, I know. It feels good for me though, because my job is to make you below 500.
Man, that's brutal. I got a final coming up, but I don't think I'm going to go take it because I'm just so defeated. I mean, there's no point. With the way I performed already, it's just not going to go well for me. I already know it, so I might as well.
If you want to stay at 500, 0 for 3 weeks have got to be rarities. So you got to bounce back next week, and I'm sure you will, because almost every time you go 0 for 3 or 1 for 3, come back and get 2 or 3 of 3. Have you ever gotten 3 of 3? I don't think you have.
I usually go 2 for 3.
2 for 3 is usually what you do. 1 or 2 of 3. I don't think you've ever gotten 3 for 3 though.
I don't know. It would be a throwback to the cave if I did.
It would be. I don't think so, but 0 for 3 and 3 for 3ers are certainly rarities. But if this segment is popular enough with the fans, we're gonna have to see some outcries for it. We want to make this on an every show basis because we both love this segment. Everyone loves this segment. So it might be. We'll have to see though. Okay. So unfortunately, we're at the end of the show. It's going to be a short show. Once again, all of our draft analysts is going to be on Thursday. Be tuned in. So Furious Favors, our last segment. I'll go with some baseball first. We got the Rockies versus Milwaukee tonight. Kyle Freeland going for the Rockies. Milwaukee has been playing absolutely awful, and the Rockies have been on fire lately. So I'm going to go ahead right off the bat. I'm going to go with Kyle Freeland. He's a guy that's going to turn it around. He's probably a strong 2, maybe a soft 1 ace guy. I like Kyle Freeland, the lefty, tonight for the Rockies.
I'm going to take the Rockies, too. I think they're hotter right now than Milwaukee. Milwaukee's really trying to figure it out, and the Rockies are going to be a tough team for them to be able to try and do that.
Yeah, unfortunately, Milwaukee's dropped down to 3rd now in the NL Central. I believe they're 2 games.
That's a tough conference, as we've talked about.
It is. I think they're 2 games below 500 now, so tough stretch for Milwaukee. The bats are going to have to come back around because we all know that starting pitching is definitely going to need some help. So, okay, so we got the other 2 playoff games here tonight. Denver Nuggets versus the Portland Trailblazers. Denver's favored by 3.5. First game of the series in Denver. I'm going to go ahead right off the bat. I'm taking Portland with the.
I'm also taking Portland.
I'll take the 3.5 points. I think Portland dominates the series because Denver barely escaped San Antonio. And Portland just murdered the Thunder.
That's the biggest key for me is that I think what Portland showed against Oklahoma City, they are out for blood. Damian Lillard and CJ are not messing around. Yeah. And they could put it to Denver. I could see that being a 6 or a 5-game series. Yeah.
Okay, so we're both taking the Rockies and Portland. And then now game 2 after the stomp that happened in game 1 in Toronto, the Raptors versus the 76ers. Raptors are favored by 6.5.
I'll take the Raptors. Kawhi's apparently on a different level right now, so I'm going to ride his hot hand.
Yeah, I'm going to take I'll take Philly. I'll take the 6.5, but I actually think the Raptors win.
Okay.
So I just don't think it's going to be by 6.5. So I think it's going to be a closer game than that because I know if we know anything about the 76ers, Ben Simmons is a guy that responds after some adversity. I hope he gets more often.
That's true.
So I'm thinking maybe Philly bounces back. Maybe Philly wins in a close one, but this is probably going to be the best game of the series because I think Toronto will dominate the series personally. So I'll take Philly with taking the 6.5 points. So okay. Well, that is it for us here on a shortened show for Meet Me Halfway. We apologize for Austin's internet problems.
Right. It's all my fault. Or was it?
Okay, well, we could also discuss the ending of Endgame.
I knew you were going to say it. I knew you were going to say it. You're right. I'm sorry.
Oh, man. Well, you're going to have to keep getting used to saying that until you see the movie.
You won't be able to by this time next week, I will have seen it.
But the thing is, though, if I already tell you the ending, then everything's ruined for you.
I will come down to Atlanta and wreak havoc.
What's my address? All right, that is it for us here on Meet Me Halfway. I'm Jordan Griffith. He is Austin McNorton. Tune in Thursday. We'll have everything about the NFL draft. So see you guys.